Hi, God bless you. This is Miss Stacy again, and I have to give a word of encouragement as I have before. I just want to welcome you to my channel. It is new, it is God inspired, and it's all focusing on just praise, worship, but also focusing on God's word and applying it to day, trying to get through today, and an acknowledgement. The focus of it has been to talk about God's true wealth and what that really means. And it's not finances. This is not a prosperity gospel. This is focusing on what God's true wealth is. And that implies really knowing what God is in you and what He is in your life and what you are to Him. Um, I've said in other videos, and I'll say it in this one, that, that God knows who you are and you are valuable. So I just want to share my testimony really quickly, that kind of led me to doing this. And the focus of it is that we all make mistakes and we all have periods in our lives where, if we could wind back the hand of time, and said, if I know then what I know now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have definitely made a different choice. So I would say I'll start with the most impactful part of this testimony for me, and it's been when I was in a long-term relationship. I was married. I was married for, well, 12 years or so. It's with this person. And everything seemed so good in the beginning. I was at a point where, we were facing divorce. We were separated. This was the first time that I would have been alone with my son, who was like 7 years old at the time. And all I'm thinking in my mind was, wow, I did not plan for this. Like, when I planned on going in, I went in for it to last. Like, you don't go into circumstances thinking that something like this is going to end. But my circumstance was, there was like a lot of like infidelity and different circumstances that basically we separated. And what happened after that was the part that really impacted me. You know, when or if you're going through anything, sometimes, and I said in the last video, is talking about the school of hard knocks and what that is, and that's an implication that when you go through things in life, that's where you learn about who you are and who you're made of. Well, yeah, what I learned was Stacy definitely had her own agenda. My agenda was, I need you, God, to fix this, and I need you to fix it now. It was, okay, I did it the right way. I waited, I dated for all of this time, and now this is going into a divorce. How could you allow this to happen? And it was a very hard, dark part. What I wind up doing is, like, it affected my walk very much so. It affected my walk with God, my faith. I just said, forget this. I'm gonna do me. That's exactly the way how it was. I just moved on. I was living my life the way I wanted, went out whenever I wanted, who I wanted. I was completely on my own. And what happens in the middle of that is, like, that darkness that's inside, it brings you to a point where you no longer can see. What you see is just the anger and the pain and the stuff that you're trying to run away from. You don't notice how it hurts other people around you. I didn't see how also that was hurting my son. All I knew was, I was angry. I was so angry. I was angry at men. I was angry at God. I was angry at a lot of things. But I was angry at myself. How could I see? How come I didn't see this coming? But I was really angry with God. And sometimes when people hear things like that, they say, how could you be angry with God? There's no such thing. You should not. I'm pretty sure he's warned you. I'm pretty sure all of these things, it's your fault. And, you know, realistically, if you just take off all of the, the church stuff and put it down and be exactly what God is, which is real, we've all come to circumstances in our lives where we've questioned. I have. I've questioned and said, why? Or I would try to figure it out and just say, well, you know what? I have some doubts about this. Where are you? Why would you allow that? What's wrong? Are you here? Are you there? It wasn't until years of counseling, and really looking at the circumstance that my eyes really started to open up. Yeah, I will admit, it wasn't until after I dissected all of the trouble and the pain that there were some warning signs. But that's the thing with sin, it blinds you. You don't see the warning signs. Just imagine when you're outside and you have a lot of rain. Say you're in a storm and you have rain and wind blowing all kinds of directions, like a really bad one. You're caught out there, unexpected. 1 minute it's nice, you start to see the clouds, but you start to say, yeah, it looked like the rain is coming. But you don't take your umbrella out until you feel the raindrops. And that's the thing with sin. Yeah, there's some signs that maybe this is not right, but we don't really act on it right away. But when the rain starts coming and it starts blowing, the wind, and you can't see, that's when you try to figure out where you are. You put the umbrella up, you try to do it on your own, but you're not even prepared. Sometimes that wind is too strong. Sometimes the rain is hitting your face too much. Sometimes you just want to try find shelter the best way that you can to get out of the circumstance, get out of the rain. And that was my circumstance. I was already in the middle of the storm. I couldn't see. So what I did was, God, how come you didn't provide the shelter for me? Well, in fact, he was letting me know before I left, it's going to rain. He told me before I left, it's going to rain. But I said, it's sun outside. What are you talking about? I have my doubts. It's nice. I'm going to keep going. And it was nice outside for a while. And then, the clouds started to come. And then the rain started to come. And I couldn't see. I'm so thankful that the stage of where I am right now is so different than where I was. The Bible says in Proverbs 28:6, and I'll make sure that I'm saying that correctly, because last time I was wrong. It's 28:6. It is right. 28:6. He says, if anyone turns a deaf ear to my instruction, even their prayers are detestable. God will not listen if he knows that your intention is to turn back to your sin the moment you get up off of your knees. So if you're talking to him and you're saying, God, make this work, and you get up off of your knees and you go right back into the very thing that he's telling you to leave, even your prayers are detestable. He's not going to bless your plan. He's going to bless his plan. It took a lot of time, a lot of hurt, and a lot of wasted years before God brought me out right now, thank you. I am thankful that I am so much better, so much more of a woman. Yes, Lord will use our mistakes and help us. I'm thankful because of the person that I am now. I'm a better wife to my husband now. I'm so much better to the one that God blessed me with in my new marriage. But if I was the same person, if I didn't go through that point of transition and growing and learning from my mistakes, I would have taken every single thing that I had before and brought it right into this new relationship. I just want you to know that, yeah, there are going to be times when we are doubtful. There's going to be times when we just want to do our own thing. And life is so much better when you can learn from somebody else's mistake. You know, I said a wise person, a smart person, they learn from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from somebody else's mistakes. Learn from my mistake. If the Lord is telling you it's going to rain, don't go outside. Okay? God bless.